This is the Mammoth Roofing Solar Show with Scotty the Roofer.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Mammoth Roofing and Solar. My name is Scott Edwards. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. And I am here today to talk to you guys about something that you might not think is too important, but I want to tell you why I think, well, obviously because I'm a roofer, but I think it's one of the most important things because what does it do? It protects your home and everybody underneath the home's roof. Okay. And just a little quick background on me. I've been in the business for 10 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. But what I really think is important for you guys who are just joining the show, who are just being introduced to me, is why I'm doing the show and why it's going to help you, my valued and trusted and appreciated listeners. So when people go and they start talking about roofs, the first thing, at least in my opinion, they think of is these guys knocking on the door and they're asking you to do an inspection on the roof. That's the business that I came from. You know, I came from a background where, you know, I worked for a large national restoration company, and that was how we got a lot of our business. We went into these hail markets and we knocked on doors. And so a lot of people's perception of roofing contractors is these dirty, gritty guys knocking on your door, bothering you in the middle of the day or even in the evening time when it's time for dinner. And so, you know, what I think I can do is to help break down why these guys are knocking on your door, but more importantly, what you can do to help yourself when it comes to insurance claims with roofing insurance claims, and then just general maintenance that can help you to prolong the life of your roof. So, we're going to get right into it. Let me tell you a little bit about my background, who I am. First of all, I never thought that I would be in the roofing business. I went to Texas A&M University, and I got a marketing degree, and I thought to myself, you know, what am I going to do with this marketing degree? So in my mind, I wanted to make big money. So the first thing I did was I went and got licensed. First thing I did was got in the car business. Then I got licensed as a stockbroker. I was a mortgage banker. I did all this different kind of stuff in the idea that I wanted to make big money. So I changed my careers quite a few times. But how did I get into roofing? It was really kind of a funny story. I was actually unemployed. I was in a bad spot, in my life. And, I was dating she's now my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. And I was on unemployment. I was in a tough spot, like I said. And so I was looking for a job. I was living with her and I decided, you know what? I'm going to go and, I'm going to go look for a job. And so I would send out my resume daily. I'd go to these different interviews. And, one day I decided I was going to go play golf. I was like, yeah, you know what? It's a nice day outside, spring day outside. I called my buddy and said, hey, Carter, let's go play some golf. He said, all right, great. Buddy Carter shows up. And, as I'm walking out the door, my girlfriend, at the time looks up and she says, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to go play golf. You know, it's a pretty day. I'm going to go out there and play some golf. And she says, well, whose money are you going to use? I'm paying rent and you need to get a job. And I was like, wow. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not going to, you know, feel like I'm depending on somebody else. I'm not going to, you know, feel like I'm, you know, mooching. So, I took the very next job that came along. Excuse me, I'll just get a little water. I took the very next job that came along and it was in roofing. It was for a company in Kansas City. I'd actually called a buddy of mine who was in commercial insurance. He said, hey, there's a company, they're killing it here in Arizona. These guys are making a bunch of money. Call them. Their headquarters just got hit in Kansas City. So I call these guys up and I say, hey, you know, what do I do? Says the guy says, look, man, I don't have time to walk you through this. If you want to do roofing, you want to come see what it's like, come up to Kansas City. I'll put you in a hotel. If you like it, you stay. If not, you don't owe me a dime. I said, well, I got nothing to lose. So the very next day, I had a buddy of mine. We had our insurance adjuster's license. No storms had hit that year. This is back in 2011. And, I said, hey, Jay, you want to go to Kansas City? You want to go see what this roofing thing's all about? He said, well, I don't have anything to do. So yeah, let's go. So we drove to Kansas City the next day. The very next day, you know, this is a long time ago, you know, considering what the roofing business has changed over time. And I sold 2 deals in my first day. The guy sits me down. He says, you know, I said, well, what do we make? And I'll never forget this. I was so broke. I had to borrow money to drive from the area where we were working to the restaurant where he was going to take me to eat that night. And he says, I said, well, how did this work? He says, well, on this one you made about $1,300, and on this one you made about $1,700. I'm sorry, it ended up being just under $4,000, the total of the two. So I don't know, closer to whatever the math ends up. But I said, so you're telling me I made almost $4,000? He said, yeah. And so I was hooked. And so from that day on, I started working for this company, and they were a company that did a lot of storm chasing, which means they would go into these hail markets and they would work these hail markets. And they actually were one of the first ones that actually were, I guess what you would say, not the bad guys of the roofing industry, where they just come in and do work and they don't warranty the work. This is actually a great company that I used to work for. And so I did that for a long time. And so I became an expert in helping homeowners recover from storms, especially in the insurance piece, because we were effectively these guys that did it all. So, I was really kind of almost running my own business. We would work with the insurance companies, we would contact the insurance companies. And so over the years, what I found is these relationships between the contractor, the homeowner, and the insurance company. It's my perception of it has really been expanded and adjusted and changed over time. But what it's really helped me to do is to understand how everything works, and more importantly, to help my customers to understand the best way to help themselves not only get the roofs approved through the insurance company, but also once the authorization is in place, they've opened up coverage, how the homeowner can help themselves get the roof they deserve. And so from my background over that time period, you're talking 10 years, I worked for them for 8 years. And so I ran a branch for them right here in San Antonio. And this was back in the 2016 storm. So I've had a lot of experience in working with insurance companies, working with insurance adjusters and agents, as well as dealing with homeowners issues with the roofs. And so I've got a Rolodex in my phone over the years of, hundreds of contractors that do this kind of work. And so I've seen it all. I've done it all. And when it comes to, especially with residential roofing, I would like to think that I'm an expert in that space. And so what I'm going to do here today, and by the way, I don't like really talking too much about myself. They told me it'd be a good idea to provide some background. So, I just wanted to let you guys know my experience and what I've been able to, learn over the years, and how I think I can help, the folks they're listening in today. So my goal with today's program and all future programs, in fact, is to tell you how I think I can help you when it comes to getting a new roof, providing maintenance on the roof so that you guys can extend the life of it. And if it comes down to an insurance claim, how you can help yourself really take advantage of this knowledge to give yourself a better experience when it comes to the claim. So let's start right in with maybe some tips and tricks on how you can prolong the life of your roof when it comes to residential. First of all, let me just say this as a disclaimer. If you don't feel safe about getting on your roof, don't get on your roof. Call an expert. By the way, our company does free inspections if you need it. Mammothroofs.com is where you can find us, or you can call 888-48-ROOFS. Ask for any of us. My name's Scott Edwards. I'm the owner. But ask for any of our team. We'll come out. We'll take a look. But if you want to get on your roof, if it's not too steep, if you feel like you can handle it, here's the best thing you can do, and some things you can look for that are going to help. All right. Really simple. Go to Home Depot, get a caulk gun, and get some sealant. All right. It's roof sealant. You can get it at Home Depot. It's really simple. You put it in the little gun there, cut off the top of it, and you can squeeze the trigger a few times to get that ready to caulk. And I would suggest wait until you get on the roof to do that. But here's what I would say before you even do that is get on the roof and take a look. What you're looking for is something that may sound a little oversimplistic, but you'd be surprised how much you can uncover and how much you can find by just taking a quick look at something. So what I always look for is something that looks like it could leak. I got on a roof. This was over in Fair Oaks, near our office. This was 2 weeks ago. I get on the roof and the guy has no leaks that he knows of. He doesn't think he has any problems. And I get on this roof, and I'm not kidding you. The guy had gotten an addition on the roof, and I'm always really cognizant of talking about other contractors or the work that I see. So I'm very careful in how I say it, because it could be an uncle, it could be a friend, it could be a trusted competitor in the community that may have had a bad day. I don't know, but so I'm very careful about how I talk about it. But the guy had an addition put on his house. The shingles didn't match. More importantly, the flashing, when it came together on the roof, it didn't match. It wasn't leveled out. It was it was an awful botched job, in my opinion. Then I get on the top of the roof and I see this tree that's been rubbing on the top of the guy's roof, and it's got this huge hole in the top of the roof. He had no idea he had this hole in his roof. I look and I see these nails, and what you may not know about most the nails that most contractors use in our area, they're called smooth shank nails, and so they just have these little ribs at the very top near the head of the nail. But they back out over time if they're not sealed over or if they're not covered by something. So if you have what they call exposed fasteners, exposed nail heads, those eventually are going to back out because the water's going to rust them out. It's going to expand it, and it's going to pull that nail back out. And so what I saw on this guy's roof was just all over the place. There's exposed fasteners. They were starting to back out. And you should know this about roofing. Water finds a way down. And so when I got on this guy's roof, there's all these problems. And the easiest thing to do when you're starting out and looking at this kind of damage, is it something you can handle? Is it something you feel comfortable doing? My recommendation, if you're a homeowner that's just trying to do it yourself, a little DIY project, is stick to the basics. If you can seal it with a caulk gun, great. If not, you need to call somebody else out there to take a look at it. I've seen, you see on different types of, like auto repair, maybe you look at something online, you think you can, take care of it. Maybe it works and doesn't. But with roofing, you do something wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's the same in the auto world, but I just think it's better to have an expert do, major repairs. Something small. Okay, fine. But, when you go beyond caulk, I would just say be careful. But if you see that it's just some nail heads poking out, if you see that there's a small hole around those pipes, so there'll be a pipe in the roof, that rubber seal around there sometimes will get deteriorated. I would say if you put some sealant on there, even get some roof cement, something like that, and put that on there, it could prolong the life of the roof and maybe give you a little bit extra life. So that's one thing I'd recommend, especially if it's just exposed fasteners and nail heads. That's one thing you can do. Now, if it's more of a major issue, let's say you have missing shingles, or if you have a hole in the roof, especially if there's soft spots in the roof or rotten decking, that's something you may want to consider getting an expert to take a look at. And again, call a trusted roofer in your area. The easiest thing to do is just look them up on Google, look them up on the Better Business Bureau, and see how they respond to complaints. One of the first things that our customers always do is, or they've told me that they do, is they'll go look at the negative responses first, which is a great way to see how the company responds when there's problems. Guys, we are in the roofing space. We are in one of the most, the toughest businesses when it comes to customer service. If you're in a car wash, okay, then make sure it doesn't have any dirt on it. When you're in the roofing space, you're dealing with suppliers, you're dealing with logistics, you're dealing with contractors that you're working with, some of which may not be employees. You're dealing with timelines, you're dealing with weather, you're dealing with construction, complete removal of an entire roof, tens of thousands of nails, thousands of pounds of material and debris coming off that roof. It is a challenge to keep a great reputation as a roofing contractor. And so what I tell people is, go look people up and how they handle challenges and problems. I've seen a lot of these companies that are, they'll be brand new and they got, 150 reviews or 150 Google reviews. Okay. What does that mean? Are these people that use your company's services? Are they people that, or do you have any bad responses? I say that's what you look for is how do they respond to these challenges? So that all said, find a contractor in your area that, has a good reputation, that other people had a good experience with, call them up and schedule an inspection to come take a look. And that's what I would suggest if it comes to anything over a small or minor repair. Now let's talk about when you've got some serious problems. Okay. Let's talk about hail and wind damage. And this is something, we live here in Central Texas, and generally anywhere in Texas, you're going to be exposed to challenges with hail and wind. So how do you look at that? How do you analyze that? Well, there's plenty of resources online that'll show you what hail damage looks like. And, there's Hague certification, which is a national, certification, which will tell you and explain to you exactly what to look for. But, there's also, different ways to look at it and analyze it. And what I would say is this: if you're having some challenges with your roof, if you're having repair issues and things like that, they should go ahead and do a wind and hail damage inspection while they're doing it. Whatever contractor that comes out there, because you would be surprised at how much hail and wind damage goes unnoticed. And this is something that I say to people that are determining whether or not they need to get it looked at. How many times has an insurance company or agent or anything like that called you up out of the blue and said, "Hey, Mr. Jones, it looks to me like you're in an area that got hit by hail and wind. We're going to send somebody out there to take a look at it for you." I know of one company that does that. Insurance companies, by the way, I will say this: they are in the business to make a profit. There are, in my opinion, good. By the way, everything here is my opinion. I am not an insurance expert, and I'm not claiming to be. I'm just telling you my experience and recommendations based on what I know as a consumer and as a contractor. Because I can't talk about certain things, and my opinion, the insurance companies don't want that. They want it to stay with insurance experts and adjusters and things like that. And we're going to talk a lot more about that because it's important on how it affects you, the consumer, the homeowner, the policyholder. Okay. But I digress. Let's focus right now on this hail and wind claim situation. So when you get it looked at, you're looking for whether or not it's had hail or wind damage. You don't know when that damage has happened. Again, we live in Central and South Texas, so hail and windstorms happen here all the time. And so when we look at it on what these storms have done to these houses, you might not know when that damage happened. It may have happened when you're out of town. It may have happened on a smaller scale, and it's just now coming to fruition. What hail does over time is it impacts the shingle. It pushes the granules, which is these little rocks, on top of your shingles. And by the way, that's designed to reflect the UV light. It pushes them into the matting below it. Now, what happens is the water is going to wash over that matting. It's going to wash away the granules. And over time, water finds a way down. It gets into the paper, that matting below it, and then it gets below that. It gets down into the underlayment, and then it gets down into the wood. Now, when it gets down into the wood is when you're going to have big problems, because over time it's going to get that water into the wood. It's going to start rotting, and that's going to cause challenges that are slow leaks that cause problems over time. That's why the insurance company pays for the replacement of a roof when you have hail damage. Because what's the first thing that most people say to us when we go into hail damaged areas? Because we have these maps that we look at. We go and say, "Hey, Mr. Jones, it looks like you have damage on your roof caused by hail based on what we see here in this heat map," which is I call it a heat map. It's really called a hail swath, which just shows us where the hail hit. Every roofing contractor has these, as well as insurance companies, which just begs the question, why don't insurance companies call you and say, "Hey, you're in this area"? It's usually roofing contractors. Why? Because roofing contractors are in the business to make a profit too. We know that the insurance company is going to pay for the replacement of these roofs because of the damage that's happened on these roofs. So we go and let the homeowners know, "Hey, you have damage." And now it's our chance to sort of strut our stuff, to tell them about our company, how we've helped other people. And so when we get on the roof, that's what we're looking for. And by the way, that's why they pay for the replacements, because over time it's going to cause damage. The first thing I hear is, "I don't have any damage to my roof because it's not leaking." I can't tell you how many times we have found damage to a roof that wasn't leaking. In fact, I would say that 95 out of 100 roofs that have damage from hail that the insurance company pays for the replacement of don't have leaks. Now, isn't that amazing? That's amazing. That means that if it weren't for these roofing contractors coming up and stirring up the pot, then most people wouldn't call the insurance companies to have them come take a look. That's why, if you've noticed, when you file a claim, the first question the insurance company asks is, how did you find out that you had a leak? They want to know if it's the roofing contractors that's in there stirring up the pot. Okay? What we found is that in gated neighborhoods that have the door shut, where roofing contractors have trouble getting in there a lot of times, a lot of those roofs that should be replaced don't get replaced. So if you're in a gated neighborhood and you're in one of those kind of neighborhoods like I live in, where if there's a guy going door to door, there's a message that goes out on our Nextdoor app. There's a message that goes out on our Facebook page. Hey, this guy's coming by. He's asking about this. You need to tell him to kick rocks. Well, in the case of the roofing contractor, if you've got roofing contractors that are out knocking on your door, the chances are they're doing it for a reason. And by the way, I'm not telling you that, I guess I don't want to sound like I'm just defending myself or our industry or anything like that, but I will say this, I've done this for over 10 years. I've knocked on over 25,000 doors in my career. And the reason I do it is because I know that if I can explain to this homeowner why they have damaged their roof and what's going to happen after that, most of the time they're going to be ecstatic that I was able to help them with their insurance company and they get a new roof. They get a brand new roof. And if they've chosen the right company, they're going to get a brand new roof and a great experience to get one on top of that. And so what I tell people, and this is just kind of what my last little plug on this, I've got sales reps and, we advertise, on the radio, we advertise on TV, we advertise all over the place. But if someone doesn't feel the pain, if someone doesn't have a leak, they usually aren't going to call for any reason. And with the guys that I have out canvassing, the reason they call is because we're able to explain, you're in an area that got hit by hail. All right. If someone is out there in 95, 100 degree heat and they're out there canvassing and they're trying to talk to people about their roofs, they're not doing it because it's fun. I can assure you it is hot. It is miserable. It is a tough job. They do it because it's a lucrative business. The roofing business is a great business. Like I said, I was a stockbroker. I was a insurance agent, a commercial insurance agent. I was a lot of different things that I had to get licenses for. I went to school for marketing, and here I am, a roofing contractor. It's because it makes good money. So when those guys are out there knocking on your door, it's because we look at the heat map. We look at where the hail hit. We look at where the wind has hit. We know that the roofs are 15 years old or more. We know that if we can get that homeowner to listen to us, just let us do an inspection. You probably have hail and wind damage from a previous storm, and there's a great chance that you're going to get approved for a new roof. And if not, guess what? If you don't have the damage, guess what? That roofer contractor, that person should say, you know what? You don't have any damage from the hail. You don't have any damage from wind. Don't worry about it. And here's my card if something happens in the future. But if you do, you should be documented. You should see photos, a measurement, an estimate. All that stuff should be provided to you to say, hey, this is what we think is damaged. This is what we think could be approved. And how's that help you? Well, if you got a 15-year-old roof and you got hail damage on it, you might get a brand new roof. And the only thing you should have to pay if you get a new roof approved through the insurance company is your deductible. By the way, any contractor that comes knocking on your door, hey, Mr. Homeowner, you need a new roof? Guess what? I'll get you a free roof. I can take care of that deductible. I can eat it. I can cover it. I can take care of it. I can put a sign in your yard, call it a marketing expense. You got to be careful with that rhetoric because the insurance companies have made it illegal for contractors to eat deductibles like happens a lot of times in different industries. So what I'll say is this is just be careful who you're choosing. Make sure that they're doing things on the up and up. By the way, if you do want to get a free inspection, if you do want to get it looked at, our company, Mammoth Roofing and Solar, does that at no charge. But again, this is more of a way for you to understand why these guys are out there. And for you guys that are listening, it's a way to help you to know what you got. If you don't have damage, we'll tell you. Any roofing company should just tell you if you don't have damage, you don't have damage. If you do, they should walk you through the process of helping you with the insurance company. And at the end of the day, my goal on this program is to help you with that process to get you what you deserve. So the first step is let's get the roof approved. How does that happen? The second step is how do we get the best roof money can buy by making sure your insurance company pays what they're supposed to pay. And lastly, if you're choosing a roofing contractor, what do you look for? You know, I can sit here and plug my company all day, but at the very end of the day, I tell people this: go do your own due diligence, have an interview us, and if nothing else, you'll know what to expect from other contractors. They should all be providing these services to you. So I'm getting the message that we've gone already at 27 minutes. I can't believe it. I've got a couple of minutes to wrap this up. So, I'll just leave you guys with this. When it comes to your roof, if it's over 15 years old, all you need to do is just get it looked at. Okay? Don't worry about whether or not it gets approved. Don't worry about what kind of damage you have. If you trust the contractor, they should give you a detailed analysis, a photo report, an estimate for any repairs that are needed, and they should have great knowledge about how the insurance process works. I've spent tens of thousands with consultants in the insurance space, in the roofing space, to learn all this stuff so that I can teach you guys this stuff and provide you value. If I don't get a chance to meet any of you in person or any of our team, take this information, take this value, and use it to try to find a great contractor, okay, that will help you get through this process the right way. That's free information for you guys to be able to help yourselves to better your situation when it comes to your roof and what all should be done with it. My name, again, is Scott Edwards. The company is Mammoth Roofing and Solar. We're right there on the northwest side in Bernie, a local contractor. Look us up online, and you can find us on the interwebs at mammothroofs.com. And again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I really look forward to giving you more value, more information, more great ways for you to be able to save money, to be able to get a better roof when it comes to the insurance claims process. And if you want to contact us on the phone, it's 888-48-ROOFS. Again, that's Mammoth Roofing and Solar, mammothroofs.com. Thanks again. I'm Scott Edwards. Have a great Sunday, and go Cowboys.